This lie started small, so subtle that it almost seemed true, but you noticed how it grew, taking up space, suffocating every good memory that existed within him. At first, it was just a suspicion. Then, it turned into a justification. And, before you knew it, it was poison running through his body. He believed. He trusted. He gave his heart as if giving the key to his house. And yet, what seemed like a shelter turned into a prison. Have you noticed how a lie can be heavier than pain itself? Because pain shows what is real, but the lie creates ghosts, creates illusions, creates distorted versions of who he really is. And no matter how much he tries to deceive himself, he can't hide it anymore, he can't take it. He carries in his eyes the exhaustion of someone who has already understood that something is wrong. He holds in silence the exhaustion of fighting against the invisible. This lie poisons little by little, not just the body, but the soul. Because it's not just about words spoken, it's about broken trust, about the feeling of having been used, diminished, discarded. And you notice how he tries to keep up appearances, how he smiles when all he wants to do is scream, how he stays silent when he wants to explode. But silence also speaks. And you, reading these lines, can hear it. He can't take it anymore. And this isn't weakness, this is the cry of a saturated heart asking for freedom. Sometimes the lie isn't on the outside, sometimes it's inside. It's him believing he doesn't deserve more. It's him accepting crumbs as if they were banquets. It's him repeating phrases that should never have been thrown at him. How many times have you found yourself carrying a lie like this? One that corrodes silently, one that weighs on your shoulders even when no one sees. Maybe this is the moment to realize the poison isn't just in what happened, but in what is still being fed inside him. He can't take it anymore. And you also know that you can't live off appearances when the soul begs for rescue. If this has happened to you, comment, "I needed to hear this." He wakes up every day with the feeling that something has been ripped out of him. It's not just physical exhaustion, it's a kind of invisible weight that seems to drag along. The lie has taken space even in his sleep. You realize that, even while sleeping, he doesn't rest. It's as if dreams are pierced by memories that shouldn't be there. Lies have this power to create a constant echo. You can change cities, change routines, even change the way you speak. But if the lie is still kept inside, it travels along. It seeps into the cracks of silence in moments of solitude, in the instance when no one else sees. And do you know what hurts even more? It's that many times he can't distinguish what is real from what is manipulated. He believes he was loved, but finds out that part of it was just interest. He thinks he was valued, but realizes that his vulnerability was used as an entrance. He struggles to see kindness, but finds disguises. Have you noticed how this wears down his trust? How every simple gesture from someone close now seems suspicious. He looks at a word of affection and wonders if it's genuine or just another decoration. He receives a compliment, and instead of feeling gratitude, he feels distrust. Because when a lie goes deep, it casts a shadow even on what is still true. It's like there's an open wound, and with every attempt at closeness, the touch hurts. Even when there is no intention to harm, he can't take it anymore. And at this point, you may identify with him, because his pain echoes in your own story, because at some moment you also believed in something that you later discovered was nothing but a facade. The poison of a lie doesn't only destroy the present, it steals memories from the past and hope from the future. He makes even the most beautiful days seem fake, as if the brightness had been borrowed, and now someone was coming to collect it back. And then he starts to doubt himself. Was he too naive? Did he deserve to be deceived? Did his perception fail so much that he couldn't see what was right in front of him? These questions corrode him, and the lie gains strength precisely at this point, when he starts to blame himself. Because it's not enough to have been hurt. Now he poisons himself with the idea that he could have avoided it, that he should have noticed earlier. But the truth is harsh and liberating at the same time. No one is immune to being deceived. And the fact that he trusted does not show weakness, it shows humanity. The ability to trust, to open up, to give oneself. If he had lived closed off, maybe he wouldn't have been hurt. But he also wouldn't have experienced love, surrender, warmth. The risk of living will always bring the possibility of getting hurt. But it is also the only chance of being whole. You realize he can no longer bear to carry this lie, and maybe it's right now that something starts to change. Because when the weight becomes unbearable, it is the soul's cry for relief, It's the point where continuing to pretend becomes more painful than facing the truth. The lie poisons, but the truth, no matter how harsh, purifies. It's like a wound that stings when cleaned, but which finally can heal. What he needs to realize is that the poison is not only in what was done to him, but in what he continues to repeat to himself. As long as he believes he doesn't deserve better, the poison spreads. As long as he repeats that he was stupid, weak, or blind, the poison feeds. As long as he upholds the voice of that lie as if it were his own, the poison wins. But there is a breaking point, a moment when he says enough, and this enough is not against the other, but against the prison he himself maintained. It is the moment when he decides not to let a lie define who he is. Can you feel the power of this? It's as if his heart started to beat differently. It's as if his lungs were breathing deeper after being compressed for so long. This is the moment when the poison loses its power, because lies can deceive for a while, but the truth always finds cracks. And when he realizes it, everything changes, not overnight, but at the pace of someone learning to rise again. He looks back and sees the pain, but instead of poisoning himself, he learns. Instead of blaming himself, he matures. Instead of destroying himself, he rebuilds. And this process is slow, silent, deep. But it is in this process that the soul finds freedom. How many times have you found yourself thinking you couldn't take it anymore? And yet, here you are, standing, although marked, breathing, although tired, living, although wounded. This shows that the lie may have hurt, but it did not kill your essence. And this same truth is being revealed in you now. If this touched something deep, comment, yes, he can't take it anymore. And that's precisely why something new needs to be born within him. It's no longer possible to sustain the masks. It's no longer possible to repeat narratives that corrode. It's no longer possible to carry guilt that doesn't belong to him. The truth can be harsh, but when it finally arrives, it creates space to breathe. It cleans the poison. It gives life back, and you, reading this now, realize that maybe this is not just his story. Maybe it's yours too. Maybe it's the mirror you've avoided for so long. Maybe it's the revelation that needed to pierce your silence. What happens from now on no longer depends on the lie. It depends on his decision, and yours, not to carry this weight alone. Have you ever gone through this? Tell me in the comments. He tries to convince himself that everything is fine. He repeats ready-made phrases, pretends his heart doesn't bleed anymore. But you notice, there is a shadow in his eyes that won't go away. It doesn't matter how much he hides, the body reveals it. The short breath, the tense gestures, the heavy silence. It's as if every cell still carries the poison of that lie. You know that the body speaks when the soul can't take it anymore. It feels pains that have no medical explanation. It feels tired even after sleeping. It feels tightness in the chest when there is no apparent reason. All of this is the weight of something unsaid, unresolved, unreleased. And you notice how the lie tries to stay. It takes root in the unconscious, making him believe there is no way out. It whispers in moments of solitude, "You'll never get rid of me. You will always be like this. It's no use trying." These voices, which are not his, start to mix with his own thoughts, until there comes a moment when he can no longer distinguish between what is true and what is manipulation. And that's when the poison shows its greatest cruelty, turning the lie into identity. How many times have you found yourself in this place, believing that the mistake was part of who you are, carrying labels that should never have been placed on you, accepting as part of your story what in fact was just a trap? He can't take it anymore. And the good news is that precisely at this limit, there is a chance for rebirth. When the heart is saturated, when the weight becomes unbearable, when there is nowhere else to hide, that's when the truth finds room to emerge. The poison of the lie will never be greater than the soul's ability to purify itself. But for that, he needs to realize that he is not alone, that the fight is not just against those who deceived him, but against the internal voices that insist on repeating it. Do you feel how deep this is? Because in reality, it is not just an isolated story. It's a reflection of what many live in silence. He is the mirror of a multitude that smiles on the outside while corroding inside. But now something needs to change. He needs to choose not to be defined by what they said. He needs to decide that the lie will not have the final word. He needs to understand that there is a greater truth than all manipulation. The truth can be painful at first. It cuts, exposes, bothers. But it is the truth that brings healing. It is the truth that restores identity. It is the truth that makes space for breathing. Imagine for a moment, him in front of a mirror. For years he believed in the distorted reflection. He saw weakness where there was strength. He saw rejection where there was value. He saw ruin where there was still a future. But suddenly, the mirror begins to clear. The fog of the lie dissipates, and he realizes who he truly is. Not what they said, not what they insinuated, but the essence that was always there, even when the poison tried to hide it. This realization is liberating. It's like a chain breaking, like the air entering the lungs in a new way, like every scar beginning to tell a different story, not of defeat, but of survival. He can no longer bear carrying this lie, and that is exactly why the time has come to let it go, to look the truth in the eyes and allow it to do the work of clearing the poison. Have you ever noticed how even the pain changes meaning when seen through the lens of truth? What was once just a wound becomes learning. What was once just humiliation becomes strength. What was once just darkness becomes preparation to see the light. It's not easy. He will cry, feel exposed, want to give up. But every step towards truth is a step towards healing. And maybe this is exactly what you need to hear today. Because this story is not just about him. It is about you. It is about everything you tried to hide and couldn't. It is about the lies that still echo within you and have no place anymore. How many times did you swallow words not to hurt someone? How many times did you diminish yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you? How many times have you believed that you were not enough just because someone planted that lie within your heart? He can't take it anymore. And you don't have to take it anymore either. What is coming is not just the end of pain, but the beginning of freedom. But it takes courage to strip away false truths. It takes firmness to silence the voices that repeat poison. It takes determination to look forward without clinging to what no longer makes sense. Can you feel that call? It's as if something inside him and inside you is asking for passage. A soft yet firm voice saying, "You are not what they said. You don't need to carry this forever. You were born for much more." And that voice is greater than all the lies. It is the truth that sets you free, the truth that restores, the truth that cleanses the poison and returns life. If this has already happened to you, comment, "Yes, I have heard it," because by recognizing it, you take the first step to break the cycle, and the cycle needs to be broken. You can't live eternally intoxicated by something that was never yours. You can't allow a lie to define decades of existence. He can't take it anymore. And what comes now is a process of purification, of freeing oneself little by little from invisible chains, of learning to breathe again without fear, without poison, without lies. And you, as you follow each word, realize that this story is not over yet. It's only halfway through. There is something deeper about to be revealed. He walks in silence, but each step carries the weight of years kept. You realize it is not the body that is tired, it is the soul. The lie, repeated so many times, tried to transform itself into truth, but there is something inside him that did not surrender, a small hidden flame that insists on reminding him that he was not born to live in chains. This is the point where everything transforms, because it is no longer a matter of strength, but of decision. He doesn't need to fight against the entire world, just against the distorted idea that resides within him, and when he realizes this, the poison loses some of its power. Do you feel the difference? It's as if his vision begins to clear, as if the weight is gradually lifting. It's not easy, it's not instantaneous, but it's real. He discovers that he can forgive himself, that he can rise even after the fall, that he doesn't have to keep carrying the lie as his identity. And maybe this is the same call for you now, because the poison only remains active when it is fed. But when the truth comes in, the lie dissolves. He can't take it anymore. And that's exactly why it's time to break free. If this made sense to you up to this point, write yes in the comments. This was just the first step. In the next video, we'll go deeper and reveal what no one says. Click and stay with me.